Hello, my friends. Happy Wednesday. Jill Ortiz here in my Empowered Fitness community for women over 40 looking to get energized, confident, and strong. Amazing Facebook group where I'm here every Wednesday doing a live Q&A, answering your questions about fitness, nutrition, menopause, weight gain, weight loss, hormones, all the things. And on Mondays, I come to you live with a motivation pep talk. I'm here to meet you, to get to know you, so that you might get your questions answered and get on your journey to your best self. The number one thing here is taking action, whether it's watching a video, reading something, going to a website, getting in touch, booking a call, taking your first steps in one of my little bitty programs, or diving in with 2 feet and all your hands and your head and everything into my Empowered Fitness Mastery Coaching Program. I am here for you 100% and want to see you successful. So today we're going to get to know each other a little bit. I'm going to answer some questions by some of my clients who are asking me questions all the time. And I'm also going to be answering questions from our newest members of our group here. If you are on here live and you want to ask me a question, just pop it in the comments below. I see Jill, June, and Janelle are all on here watching. And if you are watching this later or watching it on YouTube or watching it via an email I send you, then go ahead and reply back or respond or comment with any questions that you want answered, or go ahead and use the link that I've provided to book yourself a call so that you and I can have 45 minutes together to get to know one another, to answer all your questions and see if we are a good fit to make a plan for you for the future. So let me know you've watched. Let me know that you're watching either live or on the replay, and ask your questions. All right, so let's get started. I see Janelle's on here. Janelle is one of my amazing clients. If you look at my Facebook group, you'll see she left a great review after just about a week and a half, 2 weeks in the program, and she's having great results. And she left me a couple questions. One when she joined the group, and a couple in our group there. One I saw this morning in here. So I'm going to answer the first question that she had posted in our group here this morning, which I thought was a great question. And I had actually planned on getting in touch with her on this because she said, I do my running and lifting workouts after work between 3 and 5 o'clock p.m. Should I run before my lifting workout or after my workout? And so that's something that I've actually asked that question in the past too. And I want to say hi to my clients, Alita and Lisa. Hi, ladies. So here's the answer. We want everything we have to do our lifting because we want to get the most out of our lifting sessions because that's going to give us the long-term results. Breaking down our muscle fibers and building them back up stronger. So we don't want to exhaust our bodies before we do our lifting session. So that's why I personally, even this morning, instead of doing my lifting session, I filmed an entire program and I was super sweaty. And then I went and did my weighted vest run. I ran 2.5 miles with my weighted vest. But if I had done that before I had started lifting, then I probably wouldn't have gotten as much out of my lifting. And so that is my recommendation. I have done programs in the past as well where lifting running programs where it was always recommended to do your lifting and then do your run. The only thing I would say is if you are needing to warm up, right? So sometimes you'll hear me in my workout videos say, if you can, do a little 5-minute workout, or warm up, or even a 10-minute. Sometimes if I know my muscles are really cold, which shouldn't be as cold if it's 3 or 5 in the afternoon as like when you first wake up in the morning, I might hop on my bike for like 5 minutes just to get myself going, or do like a little bit of jogging in place or jumping jacks or some what we call dynamic stretching, which is when you flow through. When I was an athlete and sports in high school and college, and when I've coached high school and middle school athletes, I've always said, do a couple laps, right? You ever been on a team and the coach said, as soon as you get here, do a couple laps, start running, right? Just to get the blood flowing, to get your muscles warm. And that's the only thing I would say that you would do before a workout. And it's not static stretching, but moving, right? Getting the blood flowing to all your muscles. And so that would be my recommendation is lift and then run or walk, okay? And then Janelle had another question. She says, next Tuesday, I have a work luncheon. How do I stay on track with my nutrition? Should I bring already prepared food or with already prepared food? Do I bring my own food? Now that is going to be totally up to you and how you see fit for you. I know when I was working in corporate and they had these big elaborate breakfasts, it was hard for me not to like say, all right, well, they're giving me breakfast, I want to take it. And I remember there was always bagels and pastries and fruit and all these different things. Very hard to make good decisions when there's all the things you maybe don't have very often or everything looks great. And sometimes you don't see a lot of choices that fit what you're trying to do. Now, generally these days you are going to see vegetables, you maybe see a salad, you maybe see different kinds of proteins. Sometimes you'll see a lot of carbs. And so it's totally up to your comfort level if you want to bring your own food. I've had clients who will bring their own food to things, as long as that's, socially acceptable in that circumstance. I would never say like bring your own food to a restaurant. For me, I always go into situations without fear, right? Don't be afraid that there will be nothing you can eat. So, work on, if you know who's organizing the lunch, then definitely get involved with that. But work on staying with vegetables first, right? We'll start with water, lots of water, fill up with some water first, vegetables first. Don't worry about the fats on the vegetables, right? There might be butters and oils. Don't worry so much about that. Eat a reasonable size, start with that. Try to find the protein. If the protein is covered with sauces and cheeses, just kind of push some of that sauce off to the side. If you really want a carb, choose one, not all of them, and keep it to like a half a cup, which is maybe a small handful. And then what you can also do is if you truly feel that this is going to take you off track completely, which I will tell you, if there is one meal in a week that is not 100% clean, that is not going to ruin you, right? If all of your other meals are pretty good, then that one meal is not going to ruin you as long as you eat, whatever you want in moderation. But if you really feel that it's going to derail your process, your progress, and you're really, really wanting to get to your goals, then eat a little bit, try some taste of everything, and then have your food on hand for later. If you need to go and grab a protein shake at the end of it, or eat some food that you've prepared and brought and kept in a fridge at work or even in a cooler bag, then do you, okay? But don't have fear going into these situations, okay? So water, veggies, protein, minimize the carbs, and don't live with regret, fear, or shame, okay? Super important. What you do most of the time is going to determine who you are, not what you do once, okay? All right, we've got Tanya. She said, what are some healthy, portable snacks for someone that is on the run a lot? Now, I would say, number one, my go-tos, and I always think about when I go golfing because I always pack my bag. My biggest fear is getting hungry on the golf course and having my stomach start rumbling and me being like so distracted by my hunger that I can't golf. So I will always pack a protein shake. I'll usually drink it on my way to the course or have that for the front nine. I will always bring a fruit, and I will tell you, I even ate an apple that had been sitting in my golf bag for like a week yesterday on the course, and it was fine. So fruits that won't go bad, apples and oranges are always really great ones. I throw a banana in my bag. Protein bars. So I always have a bar, no matter whether I plan on eating it or not. I always have a protein bar in my bag as well, maybe for the back nine, maybe if I'm out with my kids, if I'm at a soccer game, I always pack lots of food. And so that's another thing. A lot of people think that nuts are a great portable healthy snack because they have protein. The problem is you don't want to eat that many nuts or else you're going to start inhaling a lot of calories. So you're going to want to keep it to, I'd say, a third of a cup at the most in a sitting, a quarter to a third of a cup. it's not a lot of nuts. It's not going to be like this massively filling meal or big snack. But you could pair that with something else. So cut up vegetables, right? You've got baby carrots, super portable. I used to always I had a little cup of carrots that I would have in my lunch bag when I was working in corporate. And every day I ate that little cup of carrots. It was literally a cup in my car on the ride home, and I called it my car carrots. And that way when I got home, I wasn't starving because I had been eating the whole ride home, eating and drinking water. So carrots, celery, peppers, bell peppers, easy things to cut up like that, cucumbers, put them in little snack baggies or in a glass. Glass containers are good because I think they keep your food longer. I asked my mom again for more of the Snapware. They've got plastic tops, but they're glass containers. I feel like they keep all of my food better. So those are some snacks I would say. Other snacks, if you're looking for protein, I have meatballs, turkey meatballs, turkey, I guess like deli turkey or cut up chicken strips. Like you have at the store, you can buy the, what do they call them? The shortcuts, the Purdue shortcuts, hard-boiled eggs, right? Those are all good things that you can do. One thing I would not do is like crackers and that kind of stuff, because those kinds of processed carbs can be really, what's the word? You can overeat on those things. Oh my gosh, can't find words. Hi, I'm in my 40s. I can't find my words. Addictive. So there's these amazing little like cracker things at Trader Joe's, and they say all the good things you want to hear, like whole grain, whole wheat. They got little craisins in them and seeds and pumpkin and high fiber and high protein and blah, blah, blah. Well, you put them in front of me and I'll eat the entire box. So there's certain things that if you know there's a food that's got lots of carbs and sugar and that they are highly addictive, don't bother bringing them. All right. Okay. Hopefully that helped, Tanya. We've got Stephanie. She said she has a personal question for me. She asked, what made you decide to become a personal weight loss coach? So this decision came back in 2015. My boys were 4 and 2, and I was at a low. I was working in corporate America. I was commuting 2 hours a day each day to New York City, and I was exhausted. I was, 2 and a 4-year-old. I was trying so hard to lose weight. So that was 2015. In 2014, I had gone for liposuction because I had given up on myself. I just didn't think it was possible. And that put me even more into a tailspin because I still didn't know how to do this right. And I had complications from that procedure. And so I was at a low. And there was a girl at work who I had hired. and I kind of caught wind that she was some kind of health coach. And so I asked her for help. And that was huge. From then on, I had daily accountability. She taught me nutrition. She taught me more about exercise because I was going to the gym every day and I was doing like so much cardio every day. Before I was going in the middle of the day, I was going after work. I was just like doing all this cardio, trying to lose weight, doing classes and classes and classes at the gym. And she taught me about less time, more efficient workouts. She taught me about nutrition and she held me accountable. And so in the first week, and she introduced me to some great supplements that I still use today. The first week I lost 6 pounds and I was like floored because I had never lost a pound prior to that. My scale had only gone up. And then the second week I lost 4 more pounds and my goal was only to lose 10 pounds. And so then I had to readjust my goal. Well, other women in the office noticed what I was doing and they started asking me for help. And I directed them to the girl who I had hired as my coach. And she said, you know what? You're doing so good at this. I think you could do something like this. She was so inspired by me. And she said, they're your friends. You know them. I think you could be a great leader for these ladies. And so I started getting certifications and built my resume, and I spent my lunch hours, and I had these 2 little kids at home, and I spent all my time at night. I was up until like midnight trying to learn new things and get educated and get certified. And then I just started looking around and finding clients. And so I started out with the ladies at work. And then I was at gymnastics one day, and I overheard these 2 ladies talking about nutrition. And I was like, I can teach you nutrition. I know all the keys to success. And when you can start helping people, I was so excited. It became my biggest passion. I started building my business on my lunch hour. And then that lunch hour, I just couldn't put my computer down. I couldn't put my phone down. I wanted to be helping people. And my boss noticed. And he was like, giving me warnings up the wazoo. I was even training his wife. And he's like, I see your passion here, but you got a job to do here. And I was like almost ready to go into a CFO role. I was a VP of finance and accounting in this commercial real estate firm. And he was just like, you gotta show me that you want to be in my company and building my company. And the day that I just had enough, I was crying my way to work. I couldn't wait for my lunch hour. I pulled out my computer at the end of that hour. I closed my computer, and he was sitting there, and he said, I need you to come talk to me. And he fired me that day. And he said to me, you have got passion. You have got everything you need to be a super duper success on your own. He said, get out of my company and go do it. And that was it. He burned my boat, as we say it. He gave me nowhere to go except forward. And I remember that day, I took like an hour or two this is like a VP of finance and accounting, just like that, like leaving the company. I was trying to make sure everybody was all set. I was saying goodbye to everybody. I was crying. And I went out to my car, and I drove like 2 blocks down to the Target, and I called my sister, and I was like, panicked. I was like, I just lost my 6-figure salary, and I only have one place to go. It's to follow my passion. So that's what made me decide to become a weight loss coach for others, because I knew how much I had struggled, and I didn't want anybody to be making the same mistakes that I did. And I wanted people to have a person like me, and like my coach was for me, to just help them beeline it to success and to be heard and seen and loved. And so my very first clients, their testimonials are still, on my websites and stuff. And my first testimonial came from Jackie. And Jackie literally said, Jill is the coach who wants your goals more than you even want them. And she will convince you that you want them and that it's worth it to do the things to get there. And I think that's it. I'm just so passionate about women feeling good and feeling good about themselves, feeling like they have a sense of belonging and significance. That's really, really important to human beings, is feeling a sense of belonging and significance. And especially to women, having good relationships with others, but most importantly themselves. And so that's why I'm here. All right. Thanks for asking that, Stephanie. I appreciate that. I don't share that often. Okay. Lisa says, what is a good protein to eat before working out, if not a protein bar? I wake up early. I think the easiest thing is to cut a protein bar in half and eat half today and half tomorrow, especially if it's a high protein bar. I mean, the best thing you could do is wake up, get to your kitchen, and eat like 15 grams of protein first thing in the morning to get your metabolism going, especially if it's before a longer workout. You don't have to eat if it's a short 20, 25, 30-minute workout, but if you're doing anything longer than that, I definitely would say get some food in your belly. So I've generally gone to protein bars because they're quick, easy. You just open it, you eat it in like a bite. I have had times where if I'm looking for something more savory, I will make 3 pounds worth of turkey meatballs, and those will stay in the fridge, and everybody will like just go in and start eating them, eat them cold. That's something that's very easy to do as well. My quiche, right? My zucchini quiche. That is something that I make every week, and it's easy enough to take a little slice. I actually eat a slice of that. If I lift and then I run, then I will eat that before the run because I've really exhausted my body, and then I need some fuel before I go out and do the run. So those are some things. Hard-boiled eggs, that's an easy thing. Anything that you can prepare ahead of time. I mean, who says that you can't eat chicken breast in the morning for breakfast, right? Whatever you love. I would say any kind of protein you love. Get some good ideas, lean protein, and don't worry about what anybody would think. Just whatever makes you feel good and something that you look forward to. So I think that's big. Every day after my workouts, I look forward to having my chocolate recovery shake with cherries and my zucchini quiche, especially when I have the bacon bits. I just bought more bacon bits and a little bit of cheese in there. I'll eat that thing cold, or I will warm it up, and it's something I truly look forward to, and it's a nice big breakfast with lots of protein. I think it's probably around 500 calories. So that's what I would say, Lisa. Thanks for asking. All right, we've got Shannon, and she wants to know, how do I control my weight without medication? So I always am reading up on the GLP1s. I saw a post the other day from somebody who was talking about how she had pancreatitis after taking a GLP1. So that's what I assume is you're talking about weight loss medications and how to lose the weight without those. The problem is that if you start taking them, then you can become dependent on them, and your body starts to learn, this new way of losing weight. And it's generally meant, the whole idea behind using them and what people are doing is they're taking these, it's a hormone inhibitor. So you have hormones, leptin and ghrelin. And ghrelin is your hunger hormone and leptin is your satiation hormone. And so it's basically turning down the ghrelin and turning up the leptin and saying you don't need to eat, right? But that's not the true signals that your body is trying to send you. We have these hormones for a reason, to say, hey, you need to fuel me, right? And then we have this other one that says, okay, I'm done. And if you turn these off and you interfere with that, then it's kind of like you're killing them. And so if you then come off these medications, you don't know what to do, or you haven't learned the real ways to manage your weight, and you still don't have the tools. And I'll tell you, going back to that thing I mentioned about having liposuction, got liposuction, didn't work the way I thought it would, still didn't know what to do. It wasn't until I hired the coach 6 months later that I was like, oh, shouldn't have done that, because that didn't actually teach me anything. You're better off learning how to lose weight, how to do it a healthy way. Because it's kind of like if your way to lose weight, like nobody ever said like, oh, starve yourself, become bulimic, become anorexic. It really works. Do we hear people saying that? No, because we know it's not the healthy way. That was interesting. Facebook cut me off. That was the first time I've seen that. It said there was an error and it ended my live. It said your live is over. Okay, let's take a couple more questions really quick. Lisa says, can you really lose weight during menopause? She's blaming age. You can lose it at any age. I can't even tell you how many women will tell you they are in the best shape of their lives. I, for one, at 43, will tell you that I continue to get healthier and stronger and be in better and better shape. Not only my muscles, my body, my digestion, my skin, my everything, my hair, right? It all is getting better and better. And I think, and I feel like other people will say this, people tell you your 40s, your 50s are your best decade because you know who you are and you figure it out. And if you can get this whole like menopausal weight loss thing under control, which is why I'm here, then I think you can absolutely crush life and feel your best and enjoy the things that you should be enjoying. Hopefully you've weeded out the people and the things that you just are not serving you anymore. So yes, you can really lose weight during menopause. You just have to understand it, which is why I've also included the link to my 5-day menopause makeover here. It is an amazing 5-day experience that you all need to go through at least once and experience it, learn from it, implement, and keep working on that stuff. and then we'll take next steps from there. But that's going to give you the why am I not losing weight? What's going on? What is my problem here? That's going to help you solve that. All right, Michelle, what can what you do be done at home? I do not want to drive to a workout center in the winter. I wouldn't either. That's why I moved from New York to Florida, because I don't like being in the cold, and I wouldn't want to go to the gym either. I didn't like going to the gym to teach classes in the winter, and so I understand that too. Everything that I do, you do at home, or you can do it wherever you want. That's because when I was teaching in 3 different gyms and training at the gyms and at home, we got shut down by a little thing called COVID. And so I started building everything to be home-based, easy enough to do in a tiny little area. This is my area where I work out. Tiny, right there. That's all you need. So yes, you can do it at home. You can do it wherever you want. All you need is a few sets of dumbbells, and you can kind of build your library of stuff that you need over time. All right, let's take one more because I am getting hot over here and hungry. Let's see. Julie, the doctor told me I need to strength train without joining a gym. How can I do this? Do it with me at home. What you'll love too is if you join the 5-day menopause makeover, there's 3 strength workouts, arms, abs, and glutes. And there are 2 stretch workouts. They're all 15-minute workouts. They're a great test to see if you enjoy working out with me as your teacher and working out at home. So I would say start with that. Let's take one more because that was pretty quick. Susan, why was it so hard to lose weight without using Zepbound, and how will I maintain once I reach my goal if I'm no longer using Zepbound? So I guess that goes back to the earlier question about controlling your weight without medication. So again, I don't recommend them. I say let's go this the proper way to begin with, but without the GLP1s, without the weight loss medications, you're going to have to learn the rules, and you're going to have to do these things that are going to work for you pretty consistently in order to get the results you want for your body to start learning. And so you're going to have to start building muscle, fueling your body efficiently, working on managing your stress, your cortisol, and that will take a little bit of time, but it's going to be worth it. So put in the effort, get the results you want, keep them forever, okay? Let's do one more because those last 2 were about the same as what we had already heard. Shauna, why once you hit menopause do you get this big, really fatty belly? And then there's another question too, how do I lose my belly fat from menopause? That's a hormonal thing. So when we start to lose our estrogen in our body, which happens when we hit menopause, and even earlier on, perimenopause, premenopause, our estrogen levels can start dropping. That's a fat storage manager kind of hormone. And so when that's gone, we start to store fat in certain places. So that will be your belly, your butt, and your inner thighs. I can't tell you exactly why that happens, but it does. And so you now need to replicate the things that your estrogen did. You can do estrogen replacement, right? So you can get hormone replacement therapy where there's estradiol, there's different ways to take estrogen. Or you can do the things that estrogen would have helped you with. So in terms of that fat storage, number 1, you can hone in on your nutrition, and you'll need to. You are now going to be more sensitive to sugars and carbs, and so you need to manage that appropriately. And then you're also going to start losing your muscle mass. Well, you start losing muscle mass in your 30s. You continue and it accelerates in your 50s. So you are going to have to build that muscle mass, which means that you need to be strength training and fueling. So the more you do that and the more consistently, and it may take time, the more you can reverse these effects of losing your estrogen. The other thing is that cortisol piece, right? So we call it cortisol belly. If you are constantly, cortisol is a good thing. It helps you with your fight or flight response, but if you're in a constant state of stress and high cortisol, then it just becomes a fatigue for your adrenals, and that is going to have an adverse effect, meaning you're going to be storing belly fat. So Again, the other hormone that we start to see that big decline in is our progesterone, and that is not a fat storage manager, that is a stress manager hormone. And so now we have to take a little bit more control over our stress management, meaning you may need to go get out in nature and do a little more yoga and take a few more nature walks and separate yourself from the people who stress you out and the activities and the things that stress you out. Maybe you guys stop volunteering at the school and stop having friends who stress you out, and take more time for yourself and make more time for stress reducing activities. And so again, this is not about I hit menopause, I have no control. It's I hit menopause, I need to take more control. And sometimes doing that requires accountability and a little teaching, and consistency will really help you. So that's why I'm here, and I hope I helped you today. So if you missed it, this is part 2 of the Q&A. Facebook cut me off with the live. Go back to part 1, watch that too. Let me know you watched both parts, and I will see you on Monday for our next Motivation Monday pep talk, and I will see you back here next Wednesday for our next Q&A. Bye.